Hello, hello, and welcome to episode 130 of the Compassion and Cucumbers podcast. I'm Christine.
And I'm Sam.
And we have a ton to talk about today, per usual.
Do we?
Yeah, we do.
Okay, then.
But let's just talk a little bit about what we did over the weekend. We had some fun things going on.
We did. My brother Owen and our niece Lucy came up this weekend to do a little bit of board gaming.
Yeah, it's always fun.
Always fun.
Yeah.
So they came up on Saturday afternoon, and we kicked off game weekend with a rousing round of throw avocado.
Yeah. If you're not familiar with throw avocado, this was our first time playing it.
It was.
And you get these two foam rubber halves of avocados. And it's a card game. Mm-hmm. And as play ensues, there are certain cards that encourage you to throw said avocados yes.
At your opponents.
At your opponents, yes. At other people. Sometimes you have to get up and throw it between your legs.
Yes. It's
really a ridiculous game. But
it's truly ridiculous.
We had a really good time playing it.
Yes, much laughter ensued.
Yeah.
Especially when you throw the avocado and it goes off target and you can't find it, and you're worried somebody else is also looking for an avocado to pelt you with, and so it's who finds the avocado first.
Yeah. So if you're looking for a fun game to play with your family or a really good gift I think it would be a good gift for a vegan person.
Oh, sure.
Just because we're so into avocados.
Yes.
Right? So, throw avocado. We can vouch for it. It's a great game.
And there's a similar game called Throw Burrito.
Right.
Made by the same company. And apparently, we did not know this before we opened the box of Throw Avocado. If you have both Throw Avocado and Throw Burrito.
Yeah.
There's a third game that can be played with the two of them in conjunction. And there's like a secret card pack in the box for Throw Avocados. Yeah. So it just so happens that Owen owns Throw Burrito. We got it for him a number of years ago for Christmas. Mm-hmm. And now we have Throw Avocado. So one of these days, the burrito and the avocado shall meet.
Yeah, then it'll be a burrito with avocado, which I love.
I mean, come on, can't go wrong there.
Right. So that was really fun. What other games did we play? Then we played this one. What is that one game where you write things down?
Well, there were a couple. There was one called Say Anything.
Oh, Say Anything, yeah.
Yes. And that's where there's a question and everybody writes down an answer, and then one person chooses the best answer and you all vote and you get points and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a fun game.
And then the other one that is one of Lucy's favorites is called Telestrations.
Right.
And you get this little book of essentially whiteboards, and you choose a secret word, and then you hand that secret word off to other people. So you go around in a circle and everybody's trading books around the circle.
It's kind of like a drawing version of the game Telephone, where you tell somebody something and it changes as it goes around the room.
Right. So you give someone the word and they draw their version of that word, and then you hand it to the next person, and then the next person has to interpret the drawing with a word.
Right.
And so it is interesting because sometimes you get all the way around and it's very clear what the word was, and other times, wow,
it turns into something completely different.
Things get really kind of crazy.
Yeah, that's fun. And then the last game that we played is called Floats Ma Goat.
Oh, well, that wasn't the last.
Well, I mean, one of the other games that we played was Floats Ma Goat.
Yeah, Floats Ma Goats, which is one that Owen got us for Christmas this year, which was really very funny.
Yeah.
You have a bunch of goats, literally goats, and you're trying to gain 5 points by essentially
keeping your goats afloat.
Yes. They're essentially on a raft, and you're trying to keep your goats afloat.
It's a cute game.
It's very
And
cute.
then on the outside of the box it says, "It's every wee goat for himself."
Yes, which is the greatest thing ever. It's every wee goat for themselves.
It's every wee goat for themselves.
Yes.
Fun. Anyway, we had a blast.
We really did.
Yeah. And this is something I frequently do when family is coming. I made a giant pan of baked rigatoni.
Yep.
You know, with sauce, and everybody likes baked pasta. Who doesn't like pasta, right? Yeah. And I did some Beyond sausages with onions and peppers and then kept those warm in our Instant Pot. It was, it's a good thing to have in your hip pocket for when family comes over.
Yeah, super
and then
casual way to do things.
Yeah, we keep it totally casual. I open up the food. I'm like, there's food when you want it. If you want it, here's bowls, here's silverware, whatever. No sit down,
right,
fancy pants stuff. So,
because we're not fancy.
No, we're not. So that was good. And then today we had a dumpster delivered to our house.
We sure did.
Because it's spring break, and spring break means
spring cleaning.
So I don't know, I think it was like 5 years ago, the last time we got a dumpster.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. Every so often we have to get a dumpster and just purge.
Well, and honestly, some of the purging we're doing now is purging that we didn't do 5 years ago.
That's true.
The basement did not get purged 5 years ago. Not really.
Yeah. But today we cleaned out our pantry. We have this little room. It's our pantry. And wow, there was so much stuff in there. It's amazing how much stuff you can accumulate.
Well, yeah, because you just wind up putting stuff under stuff and you forget what's there.
Yeah.
And
But so far today, the majority of things are donation stuff.
Yes.
We haven't really put much in the dumpster at all.
No.
So.
No. I have a feeling where the dumpster is going to become the primary end point of things will be when we get to the shed.
Yeah, we have a shed which we are going to be knocking down sometime in the near future so we can get a replacement for it because it's in really bad shape. It's an old shed. It was here when Sam bought the house. And yeah, it's in bad shape. So there's a lot of stuff in there that's going in the dumpster for sure.
For sure.
So yeah, so that's what we've been up to. It's exciting.
It is.
Spring
it's
cleanup.
Really exciting. I mean, just the progress on the pantry today is really exciting.
Yeah, I couldn't get over how much stuff was in there. It was just insane. It was like stuff just kept coming out and coming out. It's like, when are we going to reach the end? Anyway, but it looks much better now. It's much more manageable. We can see all of the things that we have,
And there are places now for our compassion and cucumbers event bins.
Right, yeah. We don't have a whole lot of storage where we live. And so it's important that we made a space for that
that we make the
stuff.
most of the storage we do have.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on. Hey, we have a recipe this week.
Oh, yes, we do.
Go us. This week, I made the miso ramen from the book titled Oodles and Oodles of Vegan Noodles by Cheynese Khachame. And I may be mispronouncing that name. I did look it up to see if I could find a pronunciation of her last name, and I could not. I did find how to say her first name, so that's good. Anyway, yeah, the miso ramen from Oodles and Oodles of Vegan Noodles. And I just love the name of her book.
It is a great name.
Yeah.
That's why I picked it.
Yeah, and Cheynese is a vegan influencer. She lives in France. And on her page, it says her love of noodles is limitless.
This is a smart woman.
Yes. She showcases her delicious Asian-inspired recipes on TikTok. She's a huge TikToker. And her Instagram as @Chey, that's CHEY _NESE, if you want to take a look at some of the food she makes, because her food is beautiful.
So @Cheynese.
Yep, Cheynese. What did you think of this miso ramen?
I loved this miso ramen. First of all, I was so psyched that we were having ramen, and it just turned out that the day of the ramen was a chilly, gray, perfect ramen day.
It was a perfect ramen day.
It was an absolutely perfect ramen day. Christine used my favorite ramen noodles, which are Asha ramen noodles, and they are, I believe, Vietnamese ramen, and they're baked instead of fried.
Yeah.
And they're kind of curly, and they're a little wider than your average ramen noodle.
They are, yeah.
And I just love them to death. So
they're good noodles, and they have a lot of good flavor, too. And a lot of times noodles don't really have much flavor. These do.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
And so we had my favorite noodles with a beautiful broth, lovely veg, and it was fantastic.
Yeah, you make a really nice, rich miso broth, and you start out with cremini mushrooms, very thinly sliced cremini mushrooms.
They were beautiful.
Yeah, it's a really good broth.
Yeah.
I was actually impressed because it wasn't that difficult, and sometimes a really good ramen takes a lot of time to build the flavors.
Yeah.
And this one didn't take that long, and the flavors were fantastic.
Yes, they really were. So beautiful miso broth, lovely mushrooms, lots of other veg. I believe there was bok choy in the recipe, and it was just really lovely.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you're a fan of noodle dishes, which we are a huge fan of noodle dishes.
Huge.
Yeah. Get your hands on Oodles and Oodles of Vegan Noodles.
I am very sure we'll be using this book again.
Yeah,
in the not too distant
there's
future.
tons of ramen recipes. There's tons of cold noodle salad recipes, which I'm sure we'll hit once the weather gets a little warmer.
Yep.
We'll check those out. And we'll put a link to the book in our show notes so that you can check the book out for yourself if you'd like to.
Yeah, but this was a spectacular ramen. It was warming and flavorful, and it just absolutely hit the spot.
Yeah, I was impressed with it. Even, if I don't say so myself.
Yep.
I was
stuff.
impressed with the recipe. I just follow the recipe, people. It's not like I'm some fantastic cook. If I make a recipe and it comes out great, it's not because of me.
I beg to differ.
Well,
You're a very good cook.
Oh, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. But yeah, I enjoyed that recipe a lot. Hey, let's move on to our Noteworthy segment. Hey, there's a ton of things going on around this part of the country because of the upcoming solar eclipse.
Yes.
Yes, it's going to be a total eclipse of the sun.
It is going to be a total eclipse.
Yeah.
And, the university I work for went so far as to cancel classes that day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And schools are canceling too because I think they're worried it's going to be dark when
Interesting.
when kids get out of school. So they didn't want to, deal with it. Like busing times,
Yeah.
right around the point of totality is like right when schools are being let out and stuff.
No kidding.
So, yeah. But we wanted to tell you one of many amazing things that are going on in our area on the day of the eclipse that are, things that vegans can do. Or, anybody can do them. But these are vegan-centric events.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So what's going on?
Oh, so I'm imagining that right now you're talking about the total eclipse of the farm event.
That is what I'm talking
which
about.
is going on at Mockingbird Farm Animal Sanctuary. This is, of course, on April 8th, 2024 in Byron, New York, and that's happening from 1 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. And they are saying it's going to be a day of fun, some sun, and animals.
Yeah, and I've seen a number of fundraising events going on for farm sanctuaries that are going to take place on the day of the eclipse.
That's
So
great.
if you're anywhere within the path of the eclipse, take a look at some of those fundraising events because there's some really good ones going on.
And so what you'll get at the total eclipse of the farm at Mockingbird Farm Animal Sanctuary, they're doing self-guided farm tours, a farm scavenger hunt. There will be tarot readings, eclipse-themed crafts, and snacks available for purchase.
That sounds like a good time.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's another one we'll let you know in the next episode. I have another one I want to tell you about. I'm excited to tell you about. So
Very cool.
yeah. So let's move on to today's main topic. Today's main topic is the lighter side of vegan news.
Oh, well, that's good. That's really good. I'm glad we're doing something a little lighter.
Yeah,
this week.
There's a lot of heavy stuff going on in the world,
a lot of
right?
heavy stuff going on in the world. Yes,
And
it
I
really
think
is.
we've had a couple of heavy episodes. So
Okay.
I try to keep a good balance,
Yes, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So what's first on your list of the lighter side of vegan news?
Well, this is kind of a controversial lighter side, as we have a couple that are kind of controversial. Oscar Mayer is going to be offering vegan hot dogs and another new plant-based item.
Okay.
Okay. Oscar Mayer is going vegan. Yes, you read that right. But don't get your hopes up too high, okay, with this? The hot dog brand on Wednesday introduced its not hot dogs and not sausages as Oscar Mayer's first ever plant-based offering. Both vegan options have a savory and smoky flavor and will be available in both bratwurst and Italian sausage flavors at major retailers nationwide later this year, according to a news release. The not hot dogs and not sausages are the result of a partnership between the Kraft Heinz Company. Well,
isn't Oscar Mayer part of Kraft Foods anyway?
Yes, they are Oscar Mayer's parent company. And the Not Company, an international food tech company that produces plant-based alternatives. Okay? Mm-hmm. So it's a combining of powers.
Yes.
At the Kraft Heinz Not Company. Oh, well, Kraft Heinz now owns the Not Company.
Oh, well then,
There you go.
No.
At the Kraft Heinz Knot Company, our goal is to create mouth-watering plant-based foods that are delicious and accessible for everyone. From the devoted vegan to the plant-based curious, Lucho Lopez May, the CEO of Kraft Heinz Knot Company, said in the release, "We know people are hungry for plant-based meat options from brands they know and trust. In launching the joint venture's first product in the plant-based meat category, we saw an opportunity to satisfy these customers' cravings, leveraging Notco's revolutionary AI technology and power, equity, and legacy of the Oscar Mayer brand." The Knot hot dogs and Knot sausages are Kraft Heinz' latest dive into the plant-based food market, which is projected to increase from $8.3 billion in 2023 to $19 billion in 2030, according to the release. The company has previously introduced Knot mac and cheese, Knot cheese slices, and Knot mayo. And that's what I'm talking about. When I was talking about the Knot Company,
Yeah.
I didn't realize that that was a Kraft Heinz subsidiary.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, I've never seen
We
Knot mac and cheese,
they don't-
Knot cheese slices,
Yeah.
Knot mayo. I've never seen it.
The stores in our area don't carry those, but I have seen other people in other parts of the country posting that they're finding them.
Oh, okay.
But I had no idea that they were a Kraft Heinz product.
Well, now you know.
So here's another thing that you're probably going to see a lot of vegan content creators showing off.
Hyping the
right?
the vegan Oscar Mayer.
Yeah. I got the new vegan Oscar Mayer hot dogs and sausages. I just want to maybe warn people to not get, caught up in the hype of it. Because these are products created by companies that have a huge stake in animal agriculture.
Yes, they do.
Okay? This is not a company that if you're an ethical vegan, you want to be supporting.
Right.
Okay? I'm great that there's going to be healthier options for people that want to buy hot dogs and whatnot from Oscar Mayer.
Sure.
That's great. But as an ethical vegan, these products don't appeal to us at all.
No.
So there's that.
We will not be running out to get the Knot dogs.
We will not.
Nope.
No pun intended. Yeah. This next story
I really think this one's my favorite
is
on the list.
Doozy.
This is both awful and hysterical all in one swoop.
You may have heard about this. This is
You may.
how the case of a donut kind of broke the internet.
Yeah, so this is coming from Food and Wine, and it was published on March 6th, 2024. And this is how a vegan donut cover-up outraged the internet. Even if you don't run on Dunkin', their donuts are pretty much unavoidable. According to Scrape Hero, there are 28,776 locations across the United States alone. Whether you've grabbed a Boston cream and an impossibly large iced coffee at an airport, or your coworker brought in a dozen for a birthday, you're probably familiar with what their donuts look like. But would you still recognize them if they were taken out of their hot pink storefront, placed on sheet trays lined with parchment, and sold at a vegan marketplace? Since 2019, Cindy Snacks has been the only vegan food market in Long Island, New York. While all of their products are vegan, many of them are also gluten-free, catering to people who are celiac or have severe gluten allergies. They offer snacks, prepared foods, frozen items, and even baked goods sourced from local independent businesses. One of those suppliers, the Savory Fig, has been selling their donuts at Cindy Snacks since December 2023, as far as we can assume from their Instagram, a post that has since been deleted. Founded by Michelle Siriana, the Savory Fig brands themselves as a vegan bakery based out of Patchogue, New York. In addition to scones, cinnamon rolls, cookies, and brownies, Siriani also makes gluten-free vegan donuts. It seemed like the Savory Fig and Cindy Snacks were a match made in heaven.
You would have thought.
You would. Now, since most donuts are made with a brioche base, vegan and gluten-free versions can be difficult to execute, often winding up too dry or crumbly. And yet, Siriani's donuts looked great. The dough appeared to be fluffy and light, and the icing had that satisfying sheen, even if it was occasionally smushed. On Cindy Snack's Instagram profile, owners John Stengel and Indiana Cindy K would frequently post photos of the savory fig donuts in all their glory, showing off a variety of flavors: Boston cream, jelly-filled, strawberry frosted, and even heart-shaped for Valentine's Day. But on February 23rd, something was off. In an Instagram post on March 3rd, Stengel shared that on this day, the order they received from the savory fig contained one familiar-looking donut, one with tiny pink and orange D-shaped sprinkles. I immediately became concerned as to why this one donut was decorated differently than all the others, and in such a strikingly similar way to a recognizable chain, he wrote. I pulled all of the items delivered out of our racks immediately and stored them in the back out of precaution until I could confirm what was or wasn't happening here. Worried that the donuts were, in fact, neither vegan nor gluten-free, Stengel texted Siriana, which he included in the Instagram post in the form of a screen recording. If these are Dunkin' Donuts, the ingredients could kill somebody, as we have so many people with severe dairy allergies that shop here. I'm concerned with the donuts this week and am very nervous to put them out. Siriana responded, promising that they were, in fact, not Dunkin'. She did not elaborate beyond that. Growing increasingly suspicious, he asked Siriana to send photos of the sprinkles she used, as it was hard for him to imagine why she'd simply have D-shaped sprinkles on hand. Rather than sending a picture of a bottle or package, Siriana texted him a screenshot of Home and Kit Happy Birthday letters on Amazon, saying that she bought them for a friend's birthday. While the sprinkles are indeed tiny letters, there are 25 in addition to D in the pack, and they include many colors beyond pink and orange. Stengel and Kay decided to order the sprinkles to compare them to the strange donut. Not only are these sprinkles not labeled vegan or even list the ingredients on the Amazon listing, they do not match the ones on the donut, Stengel wrote. So the donuts were probably not vegan, but maybe they were gluten-free at the very least. Stengel and Kay put the donut to the test. An at-home gluten test, that is.
Yeah.
And the test came back positive. Without Siriana's confession, there is no way to know for sure whether or not the donut is from Dunkin'. What we do know is that one strawberry frosted donut could have put anyone with a gluten allergy at risk. Stengel stated that he and Kay had cut all personal and business ties with Siriana and are looking into legal proceedings.
Yeah, and I'd just like to interject here that the reason most people know about this story on a broader scale is because of a TikTok post made by Natalie Slater. If you're not familiar with Natalie Slater, she used to be a professional vegan baker. She now works for Upton Foods and goes by @BakeAndDestroy on Instagram. If you want to check out her TikTok video, it's pretty entertaining. I know we probably shouldn't be entertained by this, but this is where all these news outlets have picked up this story. So I just want to give her credit for kind of breaking the story. You can go on.
Alrighty then. This story spread like wildfire on Instagram and TikTok, picking up speed when vegan baker Natalie Slater recounted the chain of events. More and more people scrolled through Cindy Snacks' Instagram history, and lo and behold, it appears that the possible scam had been going on since the very beginning. Those heart-shaped Boston creams that were once nostalgic are now all too similar to the ones they see at every rest stop. Those powder sugar-coated jelly donuts that were once incredibly impressive vegan gluten-free creations are now actually full of flour, dairy, and eggs and go for $1.69 a pop. Although no one has come forward with reports of allergy attacks or illness, it is disturbing to think about what could have happened, and at the bare minimum, how many people were fooled by a donut, a food that's supposed to bring a sense of joy and comfort. On March 5th, Stengel and Kay posted an update on Instagram stating that they have contacted the supervisor at the Division of Food Safety and Inspection from New York Agriculture and Markets and alerted the Suffolk County Department of Health. We want to make it clear that we came forward with this information to keep our community of local vegans and those with food allergies safe from future harm, they said. We want to keep people safe and call out wrongdoings when we see them. We feel confident we have done that as best we could.
Yeah, and thankfully, the people at Cindy Snacks took this really seriously.
Yes.
Going so far as to test for gluten levels and reporting it to the New York State Agriculture Division. And there have since been allegations, and now mind you, these are merely allegations, that allegedly across the street from the Savory Fig, there is a Dunkin' Donuts. And allegedly, she's being accused of actually, these are dumpster Dunkin' Donuts.
You're joking.
Yeah, which would explain the terrible
Smushed
state.
icing.
Terrible state that these donuts and the pictures of these donuts show. Now, like I said, that's just an allegation.
Wow.
I'm not saying that that's what's happening, but it really seems like that may be what was happening there, and that perhaps the Savory Fig was in some sort of financial strait or something.
I don't know.
For someone to go as far as dumpster diving Dunkin' Donuts and then passing them off as vegan, gluten-free donuts. And I'm sure, oh my God, even if she bought the donuts, the markup would be incredible, right?
It would be.
We know that vegan and gluten-free baked goods, rather, are, they're a little more expensive than your average Dunkin' Donut.
They are.
Right? So, I mean, I hope that's not the case.
I really do too.
Yeah.
I mean, and regardless of how the donuts were procured, the fact that a bakery that advertises itself as vegan and gluten-free would do this, knowing what could happen to people with dairy allergies or celiac disease or serious gluten allergies, like knowing that they're selling those donuts to a vegan shop that has a devoted following,
right,
that trusts that the products in that shop are going to be safe for them.
Right.
Like, it really is reprehensible. I don't care where the donuts came from, and I don't care if they were paid for or if they were
pulled out of a dumpster.
Yeah. Right. No, just the principle here.
Oh, it's terrible.
It really is.
But they did mention in this article about her holiday donuts, and I have seen pictures of her holiday donuts, and they are identical to both Dunkin' Donuts Christmas donuts and Dunkin' Donuts Valentine's Day donuts. So this isn't the first time that this has happened. And luckily, Cindy Snacks has only been carrying her donuts since December.
Right.
So it hasn't been going on for very long, but it has been going on, it seems like, for the entirety of their collaboration. Oh. Yeah. And I think that Miss Siriana is going to be in a bit of trouble, because you don't mess around with when there's allergens and stuff.
No, you don't.
You don't mess around with that stuff. So this could end very badly for her.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's how a donut broke the internet. Unbelievable. This next story is more of a happy ending.
Okay.
This is Seventh Heaven Chocolate, which is a vegan chocolatier, is introducing vegan peanut butter cups, challenging Reese's.
Ooh.
Yeah, right? This comes to us from crownheights.info. The peanut butter cups will be available for purchase on the Seventh Heaven Chocolate site starting March 25th. Seventh Heaven Chocolate, a brand revered for setting new benchmarks in the dairy-free confectionery landscape, is thrilled to announce the upcoming launch of its innovative chocolate peanut butter cups. Poised to challenge Reese's oat milk peanut butter cups, owned by Hershey's, this latest offering from Seventh Heaven aims to redefine the vegan chocolate experience, promising consumers the full experience of a creamy, melts-in-your-mouth chocolate. Elia Addy, co-founder of Seventh Heaven Chocolate, expresses her enthusiasm. We're not just launching another chocolate product, we're introducing a taste and lifestyle revolution. Our peanut butter cups are the culmination of our commitment to excellence, sustainability, and compassion. It's a proud moment for us to offer a product that not only competes with giants like Reese's, but also delivers a tasty experience. Unlike its competitors, Seventh Heaven Chocolate's peanut butter cups are crafted with the brand's signature dedication to quality and ethical standards, ensuring every bite is dairy-free, cruelty-free, non-GMO, kosher, and made from fair trade cocoa. Right? These are the companies you want to support.
Absolutely.
Not Hershey's. This upcoming product launch signifies Seventh Heaven Chocolate's commitment not only to expanding its dairy-free and vegan offerings, but also to challenge the status quo of the confectionery industry. The brand's unique formula, developed after years of extensive research by founders Daniel Baraket and Elia Adi, together with the help of the company's chief food technologist, Dan Brom, has already established Seventh Heaven as a leader in the vegan chocolate market. Initially under its original brand name Panda in Israel, and now in the United States, Seventh Heaven products are currently available at more than 700 retail locations. So hopefully we'll be able to get our hands on these.
Yeah, I hope
right?
so.
I want to try these.
Yeah, we'll try any peanut butter cup out there.
Yeah.
We really will.
Right?
I mean, and we are fans of Justin's, and we are fans of Unreal.
Unreal are good. My favorite are the Nut Pucks.
Nut Pucks? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What company made? I can't remember the company that makes
don't remember.
But those are, in my opinion,
the
closest to what I remember Reese's peanut butter cups tasting like.
Got it.
So I'm excited to see if we'll get a chance to try these.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exciting. More peanut butter cups in the world.
Hey, that's a good thing.
Always.
Yeah. Now, if they would just make the peanut butter eggs and the peanut butter trees.
Because that's what you miss the most.
And whoa, those were so good.
Because the peanut butter to chocolate ratio in those is perfect.
Oh, yeah. It's just
it's
lots
a
of peanut butter.
lot of peanut butter with very, just a coating of chocolate.
Just enough chocolate to make it chocolate and peanut butter.
Right.
Right? And
but
not
it's really,
just peanut butter.
It's really all peanut butter. Or it's very, very
so
close.
Good.
Yeah, the eggs and the trees were definitely the best.
They were so good.
Yep.
But, we don't want to support Hershey's.
No, we don't.
Whether even, now that Hershey's is making a vegan version, we're not buying them. I haven't tried them. I have no desire to.
Nope.
So.
Well, now if they came out with the vegan version in an egg or a tree, what would you do?
I would say, gee, that's too bad. I can't try those because Hershey's is a terrible company.
Yes, indeed.
And it's most important, this other company, is that they're making sure that their chocolate is sustainably sourced.
Yes.
Right?
Super important.
And there aren't, children harvesting or slave labor harvesting their chocolate.
That's right.
Like with Hershey. So,
indeed.
Yeah. What's next up on our lighter side of the news?
Well, we're going to move from chocolate to nutritional yeast. So nutritional yeast is a favorite among vegans. I know I love it on my popcorn.
Nooch.
But does that mean it's good for you? The world of health and wellness is rife with recommendations on healthy swaps for your favorite foods. Nutritional yeast is often lauded online as a seasoning that's dairy-free but tastes like cheese, making it popular among vegans looking to get their cheesy fix. Nutritional yeast is a vegan diet staple because it's loaded with B12, a nutrient that's hard to get enough of without animal products, registered dietitian Miranda Galati tells USA Today. Google searches for nutritional yeasts surged over the last few years, especially between December and February as users look to meet their New Year's resolutions. But a food being good for you differs for everyone. There's no one-size-fits-all approach to healthy eating, Galati notes. The healthiest food in any category will depend on you, your budget, your culture, your health goals, and so much more, she says. It's amazing to make more nutrient-dense choices when possible, but choosing the more processed or convenient option isn't always a bad thing either. As a registered dietitian who wants you to build a healthy lifestyle that lasts, I'd recommend ditching the idea that there's a healthiest version of anything. Here's more information health experts want you to know before trying nutritional yeast.
Yeah, let's just answer the question. Is nutritional yeast good for us?
On top of having a tasty flavor, nutritional yeast has an impressive nutritional profile, Galati adds. She notes that a quarter-cup serving contains 8 grams of plant-based protein and 3 grams of fiber. That's about the same amount of protein as 2 tablespoons of peanut butter and the same amount of fiber as a banana. For context, the United States Department of Agriculture recommends people eat about 28 grams of fiber based on a 2,000-calorie diet. When it comes to protein, the USDA's recommended dietary allowance says you should consume 0.36 grams of protein per pound of body weight.
Right.
For a person who weighs 150 pounds, that's 54 grams of protein daily. But some dietitians, including Galati, say that recommendation can differ depending on other factors, and that it may be more beneficial to eat 0.7 to 0.9 grams per pound.
Yeah, that's what we've heard, that the USDA recommendations on protein intake are skewed
Yes.
to the high side.
Well, right, but that's not actually what this article is saying. This article is saying that the USDA's recommendation is 0.36 grams per pound.
Oh, so they're actually saying this Galati is actually saying that it should be higher?
Yes, 2 to 3 times
You're
higher.
Right. Oh my gosh.
I disagree with that personally.
I totally disagree, and not just us disagree. We disagree based on scientific evidence.
It's based on research, not just ourselves.
Right.
Yeah, that would not be a good reason. Okay, anyway, nutritional yeast also contains well above your daily requirements for B12 and other B vitamins.
Yeah, so according to this article anyway, nutritional yeast is perfectly fine.
Yes.
There's, this is a clickbaity title. Does that mean it's good for you? I have heard, however, that some people who are prone to gout should be careful about how much nutritional yeast they consume, because apparently it can aggravate that.
Well, there's no mention of that in this particular article,
No.
But they do say that some research has suggested that nutritional yeast may be irritating to those with Crohn's disease and other types of inflammatory bowel disease.
Yeah, it can be inflammatory for some people.
Yes. I'm not sure what the reason for that is.
I don't know either.
Yes. So, but there you go.
Yeah. So, eat your nooch.
Eat your nooch. Now, we don't recommend going crazy on nooch.
I mean, it's kind of hard to go crazy on nooch,
It really
right?
is. Like, we put a bit of nooch on popcorn whenever we have popcorn.
Sure.
And to me, nooch doesn't taste cheesy at all.
No, it doesn't. I don't know why people say it does.
It's salty and savory.
Yeah.
And it just makes your popcorn, it's almost buttery to me more than cheesy.
Yeah, I agree. I will sometimes use nooch in, like, when I'm making a cheese sauce or something, especially if that cheese sauce is pure vegetable based,
right?
Just to bump up the flavor a little bit. Yep. But yeah, I don't find it particularly cheesy either.
Nope, not at all.
But but apparently, go ahead, eat your nooch. Don't worry about it.
We love our nooch,
unless you have Crohn's or some other inflammatory issues.
And in that case, ask your doctor.
Right. Yeah, definitely ask your doctor.
If you have any concerns about adding something into your diet, by all means, ask your doctor.
Our next story is going to be 20 foods that are surprisingly not vegan.
All right.
Now, how surprised are we going to be? Maybe not so much. If you've been listening to our show, we've probably pointed out some of these foods.
Probably.
And if you've been vegan for a while, you probably know some of these. But if you're a new vegan or if you're considering going vegan, here are some of the foods that you should probably watch out for.
Absolutely.
When you're shopping. Number one is regular, here we go, Worcestershire sauce.
You got it.
Nice. Or Worcester sauce. Some people just call it Worcester sauce. There are vegan versions of Worcestershire sauce. Just check the labels, because the standard, like Lee and Perrins, has malt vinegar, molasses, sugar, salt, but it's the anchovies that you have to watch out for you. Yep. Yeah. And if you don't know, anchovies are tiny little fishies.
Yes, they are.
And we don't want to be eating them. Twinkies, apparently, are not vegan. I cannot tell you the last time I had a Twinkie. Can you remember the last time you had a Twinkie?
No.
Yeah.
Probably elementary school.
Right. Me too. Probably when I was young. And those Twinkies that I had back then are probably still good today if you kept them on a shelf.
Yeah.
I think the Twinkies have been found to have some of the longest shelf life of all foods.
Yes.
Anyway, they're not vegan, and here's why. There's no actual cream in the cream filling, so it's not that. Nor do they contain gelatin. Instead, Twinkies contain whey, tallow, and hydrogenated tallow. You already know about whey, right? Whey is a milk byproduct.
Yep.
But tallow, also known as rendered beef fat, might not be recognizable if you're looking at a list of ingredients.
And can I
as an
ask,
animal byproduct.
why on earth would you need beef fat in a Twinkie?
It's
cake.
It's inexpensive. That's why.
Well, I get that.
Yeah.
I know, but it's cake.
Yeah.
No one wants their cake to taste like beef.
That's what they're using for the oil
disgusting.
instead of using a vegetable oil, because vegetable oil is more expensive, and beef tallow is a byproduct of the animal agriculture industry, and it's something that slaughterhouses, whatnot, they render all those fats down and they sell them.
Yeah.
And for much cheaper than a refined, vegetable oil.
Oh
or
no,
something.
I know, but beef fat in cake. Can
Yeah.
we just go back to that for a second?
Yeah.
Well, beef fat in anything, but seriously, beef fat in cake.
Yeah. It's gross. It's gross.
It's gross.
You want to take this next one?
Sure thing. So next, and I'm sure most of you out there are very aware of this, but protein powders. So if, as a vegan, you decide to supplement your protein intake with protein shakes.
Sure. Like if you're working out or something, right?
Absolutely. And you feel like you're needing a little bit more protein, you might use a protein powder. Okay. But always, of course, be on the lookout for those that are whey based. Okay. Whey is possibly the most common base for protein powders.
Yeah,
so you
it
want to
can
make
be.
sure that you're looking out for that. Thankfully, there are numerous vegan protein powders out there, and those are often made with pea protein.
Yeah.
That's the most common vegan version. And those varieties are made by Vega, Naked Pea, and KOS, among others.
What else?
We've got pre-made pie crusts.
Yeah, we do.
Yes. Now, you very recently purchased some pre-made pie crusts.
The
and it
Marie
turned out-
Callender's pre-made pie crusts are accidentally vegan, but read the label because that company makes several different varieties of pre-made pie crusts. So
Right. Now, you might think that a pie crust is not vegan because of the egg, but in this case, most of them are actually lard-based. So that is entirely composed of animal fat. So it's not an egg issue, it is a lard issue.
yeah, so
with pre-made pie crusts.
once again, companies using byproducts of the animal agriculture industry because it's inexpensive for them to use.
Yeah.
Pop-Tarts. If you're a Pop-Tart fan, Pop-Tarts are not vegan.
But let's be clear, it's the Pop-Tarts with frosting. That's something to be aware of, because there are Pop-Tarts that do not have frosting.
Right. The frosting often contains gelatin.
Yes.
But some varieties also include milk, so be sure and check the ingredients list. And to be safe, you can stick with the 3 vegan options: unfrosted strawberry, unfrosted blueberry, and unfrosted brown sugar cinnamon, which is one of my favorite Pop-Tarts. Those are vegan.
I think it's been even longer since I've had a Pop-Tart
Yeah.
than I've had a Twinkie.
They used to carry Pop-Tarts in the machine where I worked. And sometimes if I forgot to bring a lunch or whatever, I would get the unfrosted brown sugar cinnamon Pop-Tarts.
Yeah, I'm just not a fan of Pop-Tarts. The filling was always a little bit too sweet, and I'm
Yeah.
sorry, but the actual pastry always tasted like cardboard.
Oh, they're terrible.
Yeah.
They're terrible.
Not
but if
so
you're
much.
a fan,
Yeah.
not judging. No
Oh,
judgments.
not at all. I'm just saying I'm not a fan.
Yeah. This one surprised me. Planters dry roasted peanuts. You want to know why Planters dry roasted peanuts aren't vegan?
Gelatin.
They use gelatin to get the coating to stick to the outside of the peanuts.
Yeah.
So don't buy those.
Nope.
There are other dry roasted peanuts available on the market, even like Wegmans store brand. Just look on the back of your peanuts. It should just say roasted peanuts and salt.
But isn't that crazy?
Or no salt if you like them saltless.
Yeah.
But-
Isn't that crazy? Just something so ubiquitous.
Yeah, they use a small amount of gelatin to get the salt and spices to stick to the peanuts.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah.
That's nuts. I didn't mean that, but you know what? Hey,
Yeah.
cool.
What's the next one on the list?
Pesto.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so this is no surprise to most vegans because it generally contains Parmesan cheese.
Right.
Most mass-produced pestos will contain Parmesan. So jarred brands like Berea and Classico contain Parmesan cheese, so you'll have to find a variety that doesn't include cheese or milk in the ingredients list. Even better, though, make your own.
Make your own.
Yeah.
There are, and I think, is it Berea or Barilla? Whatever.
Oh, it's Italian, so it must be Barilla.
I think it's Barilla.
Sorry.
I think they do, or maybe no, it's Classico that does make one that's vegan.
Oh, do they?
Yes.
Oh, great.
And again, watch for store brands because there's a store brand one that I buy that is also vegan, has no cheese in it. But it is so much easier to make your own.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's convenient. Sometimes I will keep one of those little jars in the cupboard just for a night when we don't have time to cook or I don't feel like cooking or whatever. You can really dress up a pasta dish with a couple of tablespoons of, you know, jarred pesto.
Yeah.
You can make something taste really good.
Yeah.
So yeah, watch out for that. Funny thing, we were just talking about this.
Miso soup.
Miso soup.
I love me some miso soup. The good news is that miso soup can easily be made for vegans, as the primary ingredient is miso paste, which is just soybeans, salt, and yeast.
Yeah.
The bad news, traditional miso soup, like the kind you'd get at a Japanese restaurant, contains dashi, which is a soup stock made from dried kelp and dried fish flakes.
Yes.
The latter of which is obviously not vegan.
Obviously not.
Yeah.
Here's one you might know because it's kind of common knowledge among vegans that McDonald's French fries are not vegan. If you think passing on a Big Mac and having the fries instead is the vegan choice, think again. McDonald's fries contain beef flavoring, so they're not vegan or vegetarian at all. However, if you get fries from McDonald's locations in Canada or the UK, those are vegan friendly.
And they're probably better also. The best McDonald's I ever had, and this was long before veganism,
Yeah.
but the best McDonald's I ever had was in Hong Kong.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was crazy good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're markedly better in other countries. I mean, all food is. Like
E-
even like
often.
snack foods in the grocery store, even like packaged cookies, things like that. They're so much better in other
Oh
countries.
gosh, take me to the UK for packaged
Yeah,
snacks.
because they just don't allow all of the terrible ingredients that the United States allows
Yep.
to be put in our food.
It's true. This next one shouldn't be much of a surprise either. Not vegan, marshmallows and fluff.
Yeah.
So neither marshmallows nor marshmallow fluff are vegan, but not for the same reason. We know marshmallows contain gelatin, which, as we've already covered, is made from animal collagen. Fluff doesn't contain gelatin, but it does include egg whites.
Right.
So still off limits.
Yeah, but if you're vegan, you can get Dandies,
Yes.
and Dandies now also makes
fluff.
a fluff. So if you're a fan of the fluff or the fluffernutter sandwich, there are options out there for us.
Cool.
Yeah. Kellogg's Frosted Mini Wheats are not vegan. Even if you substitute vegan-friendly milk with your Kellogg's Frosted Mini Wheats, it's not vegan. This particular variety of shredded wheat, as well as the strawberry frosted and cinnamon roll flavors, contain gelatin derived from beef.
Continuing on the gelatin thing, we've got Jell-O. If you can't tell by the name, Jell-O contains gelatin, meaning it is not a vegan food. On the other hand, most flavors of Jell-O instant pudding do not contain milk-based ingredients or any other animal byproducts and are okay for vegans.
That's true.
I didn't know that.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
Oh, that's true.
I mean, I can't remember the last time I had pudding, so
I know.
it's right up there with Twinkies and Pop-Tarts.
Yeah,
I
mean,
can't remember.
We're not big pudding people, but,
No.
it's something good to keep in mind,
Yeah.
for a dessert idea or whatever.
Yeah, quick dessert some night.
Yeah.
Sure.
This one also might be fairly obvious, but it also can be a point of contention. Honey is not vegan.
No.
Pro-animal organizations like PETA and the Vegan Society have a strict no honey policy, as do we. And the reason is because the honey is made by bees. It's technically an animal byproduct, and the harvesting of honey can potentially harm the bees. Thankfully, there are numerous vegan honey varieties available, or you can substitute agave or maple syrup in a recipe or something that calls for honey.
Yep, for sure. Now, the next one is definitely worth talking about. Okay, so gummy bears and worms. So I actually really like gummy candy every now and again.
Yeah, Sam's a gummy candy fan.
It's not a regular thing,
No.
but every now and again I'm like, ooh, I really want some Sour Patch Kids or something like that. I don't know what it is about them, but I do enjoy them. And the thing is, most gummy worms and bears have gelatin in them, the vast majority of them. And it's what gives gummy bears their texture. Okay, so that means that most varieties of gummy bears and gummy worms are not vegan friendly. This includes the pervasive brands like Haribo and Trolley.
Yeah.
Yeah. So stay away from those. Sour Patch Kids, on the other hand, are vegan.
They are.
Yes. And some varieties of Swedish fish
Correct.
are also vegan. Not all of them. You have to read with the Swedish fish. But all varieties of Sour Patch Kids are vegan.
Yeah. Gum. Okay. If you're a gum chewer. Gum is sometimes made with gelatin, but it depends on both the brand and the flavor. Well, Eclipse, 5 Gum, Juicy Fruit, and Big League Chew are all vegan. Some varieties of Trident, Orbit, Mentos, Icebreakers, Stride, and Extra are not. And I can tell you, really, if you chew gum, don't chew gum. Because also, what they don't say in this article, because it's not a vegan specific thing, is that there are microplastics in chewing gum, that they use microplastics to make chewing gum now. They didn't used to, but it's cheaper for them to make them this way. There are some good brands of vegan and healthier gum choices if you're a habitual gum chewer. I used to be a pretty big gum chewer. Not so much now that I have more dental work. But yeah, be careful of gum. It's not the best thing to be ingesting.
Yeah.
And those brands that are not vegan, really don't eat those.
Right.
Well, don't eat your gum at all. You shouldn't swallow your gum. I don't know. That's just my mom always told me not to swallow my gum. I don't know if it's a problem or what.
I don't know. Are you done with gum?
I'm done. Let's move on from gum.
Let's move on from gum to fresh pasta. So we all know that dry pasta, just about any pasta that you can buy at the store in dried form, with the exception of egg noodles, and it's got egg right on the package.
In the title. Yeah.
Most dried pasta is absolutely fine for vegans, but fresh pasta is often made with eggs. Okay, so you do have to check any fresh pasta that you're going to purchase. There are vegan fresh pastas out there.
Yeah.
You just do need to read the labels.
Yeah, watch for eggs and cheese.
And cheese as
like
well.
Tortellini, things like that will
Absolutely.
contain cheese. What's next?
Meat substitutes.
Okay.
So just because meat substitutes are vegetarian, it doesn't mean they are vegan. These products often contain eggs and sometimes milk, including Quorn's meatless cutlets, grounds, nuggets, patties, and pieces, as well as Morningstar Farms' bacon strips, breakfast sausage, black bean burgers, and grillers.
I really wish Morningstar Farms would get their act together.
I do too, because we used to love Morningstar Farms breakfast sausage, and this was before we were vegan. We would buy their vegetable sausage.
Yeah, they're good.
They are good.
Their bacon wasn't bad either.
No, it wasn't. So few of their offerings are vegan that we don't even bother to look anymore.
Yeah, I think we tried one Quorn product and weren't
impressed.
A fan.
Yeah.
So we haven't even explored any more of the Quorn products. But yeah, Morningstar Farms has also been threatening to go vegan line-wise.
For quite a while.
Or line-wide. Is what I meant to say.
It would be line wide, yes.
Yeah, for quite a while, but they never seem to come through.
No.
So, whatever. Whatever. Oh, Doritos. You might think that Doritos are just junk food with no real ingredients, but most flavors, including the nacho cheese, spiced nachos, and Cool Ranch, may include milk, buttermilk, cheese, eggs, and or whey. But if you see spicy sweet chili Doritos, grab those up because those are vegan.
And if, like Christine and I, she's got the salty snack thing going on. I've got the sweet snack thing going on. Chocolate. We all know you have to be careful around chocolate.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be labeled milk chocolate to contain milk. Dark chocolate is any chocolate with 50% or more cocoa, but you want to aim for more than 65% to reduce the likelihood of it containing milk. Even then, it's best to check the ingredient list, which sometimes includes milk or milk fat. For instance, Lindt chocolates, even the 99% variety, still includes traces of milk.
Yeah, but it's got the may
Right.
may include milk situation. So,
Yep.
Altoids. Although you might associate it with gummy foods, Gelatin, which comes from collagen, skin, tendons, ligaments, and bones of animals, can also be found in a variety of other foods, including the original Altoids. If you have to have an Altoid, opt for any of the sugar-free flavors, and you're in the clear.
And there you have it.
Yep, there's just a few foods that you might not have thought about them being not vegan, but they're not. And yeah, like Twinkies. Really? Why you got to put beef tallow in Twinkies?
Well, I mean, but are we really bemoaning the fact that we can't have Twinkies?
I'm not bemoaning the fact that I can't have anything on this list.
That does not bother me at all.
Yeah,
no.
But it just kind of an example of how these byproducts make their way into other products simply because they're the cheaper option, because there's so much of it and it's so readily available because of the size of the animal agriculture industry.
Right. And our last vegan news tidbit, I suppose, is coming at us from Huffington Post. And
where all of your important news comes from.
Absolutely. And we're taking a look at an article written by Brittany Wong and published on February 6th, 2024, that asks the question, what are the most frustrating things about being vegan to vegans?
Yes, according to vegans.
Yes. So we're going to jump right to the things. Okay. So the number one thing is that there's an assumption that all vegans are preachy.
Yeah, there is that assumption, isn't there?
Yes. And so here we have a quote from Sam Turnbull, who is a vegan chef and cookbook author.
We've cooked out of Sam's books.
We certainly have. And she says, most people just don't get veganism. They think it's an extreme diet and that vegans are preachy. And often people try to look for faults in veganism, when in reality, vegans are just trying to do their best to limit animal cruelty, reduce their footprint on the environment, and to improve their own health. Even if someone isn't vegan, you'd hope that they could at least respect our efforts.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah,
I agree with that statement. And somebody once mentioned that, how there's always that saying, how do you know if someone's vegan? Because they will always tell you.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're constantly telling you.
Sure.
Well, this person said, well, the reason we're constantly telling you is because you're constantly trying to make us eat things we're not allowed to eat.
Right.
Or that we don't want to eat.
Well, and I think that's more to the point. It's not that we're not allowed.
No.
We are making an active choice not to.
Right.
Yes.
So if maybe you'd stop offering us a hamburger, maybe we'd stop saying, I can't, I'm vegan.
Right. Absolutely. Number two, and this is one that I definitely agree with, is that it's tough to find restaurants that are inclusive to vegans, not just vegetarians.
Sure.
And in our part of the world, that's definitely true. Of course, if you're living in a larger metropolitan area, that's going to be less true. But the rise of vegan restaurants over the past decade has been a game changer and a significant step forward for both vegans and animals. Walking into a vegan restaurant isn't just exciting for vegans. It's a sigh of relief, knowing that we don't have to wade through a menu hoping for a good vegan option.
Boy, isn't that true?
So true. That said, many mainstream restaurants still lag behind. Vegetarian options are often the default, yet they're typically laden with cheese, milk, or eggs. Here's the thing. If restaurants made one really amazing vegan option beyond a salad, vegetarians and vegans could eat it. Yet some restaurants still haven't embraced this idea or are slow to recognize the growing demand for great vegan dishes.
Yeah, and I think some restaurant chefs just find it hard to make what they think are really delicious meals without using cheese, right?
Yeah.
It's like their big fallback. Well, if I just dump a bunch of cheese on this, it's going to be fantastic.
Well,
right?
Sure.
It's laziness is what it is.
I agree. And I personally don't think it's hard to make vegetables and grains and beans taste good. They taste good on their own.
Yeah.
So you don't have to even do much.
Yeah.
Just refrain from putting cheese on things.
Yeah. This next one is really annoying.
Yeah, it is. And that's, now that plant-based meat substitutes are common, you hear questions like, if you don't like meat, why do you eat mock products?
Yeah, why do you eat things that look like meat if you don't like meat?
So one major frustration about being vegan is the question or comment most people ask that's usually something along the lines of, I don't understand why vegans give up dairy, eggs, and meat just to replicate dairy, eggs, and meat. If you hate it so much, then stop trying to replicate it. I wish people would understand that many vegans, myself included, didn't give up those things because we were disgusted by it or didn't find it appetizing.
Right.
It's not because it doesn't taste good. Besides that, it's just easier to call something vegan chicken rather than jackfruit and seitan drumsticks. Imagine if you just transitioned to a vegan or plant-based diet and you were searching online for vegan recipes. If you were looking for a vegan chicken recipe, chances are you'd search vegan chicken instead of jackfruit or seitan. I try to deal with these questions by being open-minded and reminding people that I'm not forcing my diet on anyone. I just want to give alternatives to those who might be looking for them.
Yeah.
And that comes from Ashley Hankins, who is a cookbook author and creator of the blog Eat Figs, Not Pigs.
That's cute.
Isn't that
Eat
great?
figs, not pigs.
Love that.
Yeah. This next one, is definitely kind of mind-blowing when you first go vegan and you're reading those labels at the grocery store.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. When you shop, you realize milk is in almost everything. Yeah. And this blurb comes from Sam Turnbull again. It's so hard to find items without milk, from salt and vinegar potato chips to bars of dark chocolate to crackers to granola bars to hot sauce to jars of minced garlic. It's in everything. I've found it hidden in the most random products. You really can't purchase anything without carefully reading the ingredients. This is not only frustrating for vegans, but also really weird that brands are doing that since the vast majority of the population is lactose intolerant.
That's right.
Yeah.
Next, number 5, we've got people assume that a vegan diet is expensive and that's why they avoid it.
Oh, yeah. We talked about this.
We have. Now, there's no arguing that a vegan diet can be expensive, but so can an omnivore diet.
Right.
Very, very easily.
Right.
So there's a belief that there's only one way to eat a vegan diet, expensively. I think it stems from people only focusing on certain types of meals and pricey vegan substitutes for meats, milk, and cheese. But there are several world cuisines that are vegan-friendly and don't rely on vegan substitutes. Most of these cuisines rely on whole foods like beans, legumes, nuts, seeds, whole grains, tofu, and more. And many of these are cheaper or similarly priced to other ingredients.
Yeah.
And that comes from Risha Hingle, a vegan cookbook author and creator of the blog Vegan Risha.
Her blog is really great.
Cool.
Yeah, if you're looking for a good vegan food blog.
Good to know.
It can be annoying to deal with holier than thou vegans. We're so
Really?
holier than thou. And this little blurb comes from Richard Macon. He's a vegan cook and creator of the blog School Night Vegan. He says, for me, the most frustrating thing about being vegan is other vegans, at least from time to time. I grew up vegetarian in the 80s and 90s, so I've encountered lots of opinions about my diet from omnivores. I have my reasons for being vegan, so this doesn't bother me greatly. However, the vegan scene has been a rather tough nut to crack. I've found that other vegans sometimes have such prescriptive ideas about what it actually means to be vegan, and that the whole scene can feel like a rather exclusive member club. Ironically, I think that this ends up deterring most people from giving veganism a try because they become preoccupied with the idea of gold star veganism rather than doing what they can to cut down on animal products. I've learned to deal with this by remembering that there is no such thing as a perfect vegan. Personally, I believe that there is as many different ways to be a vegan as there are vegans. And through my recipe development and cookbooks, I try to encourage people to find joy and comfort in vegan cooking, rather than becoming concerned about perfection. It's surely better to have 100 imperfect vegans than one perfect one.
Indeed. As with anything.
Yeah.
Perfection is just not realistic.
Yeah.
So we do the best we can.
We do.
Remember, the very beginning of kind of the vegan credo includes the words, as far as is practicably possible.
Right. And that's an individual thing.
It certainly is.
Right? Mm-hmm. What else annoys us?
Well, that sometimes people think that being vegan is your whole personality.
That's right.
You would think that not being able to eat your favorite meat and cheese-laden food would be the most challenging and frustrating thing when you become vegan. For me, though, it's people and social situations, especially as someone who doesn't particularly enjoy being the center of attention. Being introduced as the vegan, navigating food-related social events like weddings, parties, work lunches, summer barbecues, and dinner invitations, and being bombarded with questions, jokes, preconceptions, and sometimes even hostility is really tough. And that's from Melanie McDonald, the author of Vegan Comfort Cooking and creator of the blog A Virtual Vegan.
Yes, and we've cooked out of her books too.
We certainly have.
You know what else annoys us? It's hard to understand and talk to animal lovers who still eat animals.
This one is tough. I have to admit. This is probably the one I resonate with most, actually.
This is so difficult. And recently, this is hard to talk about, but there is an animal sanctuary in our general area that was holding a meat raffle as a fundraiser. And this isn't just...
What?
I know. They were. But listen, this isn't just a cat and dog rescue. This is, they have pigs and sheep and, okay. So they posted this meat raffle. Well, of course, word got out and all the vegans were like, what?
Yeah.
In tarnation? They have since, due to the pressure campaign of the vegan community in this area, put a stop to the meat raffles.
Excellent.
Yes. After they blocked everybody from commenting on their page.
Well, there you go.
But hey, it worked. But this is really hard to understand. And let's read this little blurb and see how this person...
And this is also,
it's also from Melanie McDonald.
Yep.
Yeah. So Melanie McDonald says, I don't think that I'm the only vegan who deals with cognitive dissonance when I talk to animal lovers who eat meat. People say they love animals and dislike animal cruelty when they literally pay someone to kill animals and then eat them. They feel outrage over people eating dog meat when they eat animals themselves, or they coo over cute lambs in a field, then eat a lamb's leg for Easter dinner. It's incredibly frustrating and even harder when it's friends and loved ones that we have to listen to their bizarre justifications. Learning to emotionally detach and remembering that I was once like this myself before I made the connection really helps. And that does help.
It does.
Try and remember when you see or have conversations with non-vegans about animal loving, remember that you once were the same way. You once had that cognitive dissonance that person has, and that your eyes have been opened. But it is incredibly frustrating. You know, I wouldn't go so far as to say annoying. It's just really frustrating. And when you find it hard to understand those things, just think back to before you were vegan.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes. And it's hypocritical not to.
Yeah.
Because obviously, I mean, most of us have had periods in our lives, and for some of us, extended periods of our lives, the majority of our lives, where we weren't making the connection and we were eating animals and consuming animal products.
Yeah. And putting the blinders on.
And putting the blinders
You know?
on. Yes. So, you know, we have to give those who haven't gotten there yet some grace.
Yeah. And it's especially frustrating, though, when it is organizations like that farm sanctuary or like the Humane Society where we volunteer. We had a conversation, and I may have said this before, at the AVA Summit in Washington, D.C., with a representative of the Humane Society.
Right.
And they, on a grand scale, right, are for animal liberation.
Yes.
But their factions, the small humane societies here and there, they can fundraise however they want.
And our local chapter of the Humane Society tends to fundraise through chicken barbecues.
They do. They have chicken barbecues, frequently have chicken barbecues. They have spaghetti and meatball dinners. And we have done what we can, to the point where we've been asked to be more involved, maybe be on the board, do things like this. And every time we say, look, we would love to be more involved with your organization. However, we cannot, as ethical vegans, contribute any more than caring for the animals because you choose to serve animals to save animals, and that makes no sense to us whatsoever. And we always get the response is always, yes, I know, I understand. But they don't stop it.
No, they don't change it.
They don't change it. But we'll keep trying.
We will keep trying.
Yeah.
And every time they ask, we will give the same answer.
Yes.
We will happily get more involved the day you stop fundraising by using animal products.
Yeah. And I did actually, there was a post by the Humane Society urging people to sign this petition that had to do with animal welfare, including farmed animal welfare. And I private messaged the account that it came from and said, yes, this is a fantastic cause. I gladly sign this petition, and I hope you get all kinds of great support for it. But how do we stop our local Humane Society from serving, cooking, killing animals in order to raise money so that we can save cats and dogs?
Right.
I never got a response. But I will keep trying. We'll keep trying.
We will. That's all we can do.
What else annoys us?
There's a belief that you can't honor your family's cultural dishes if you're vegan.
Oh, okay. And we talked a little bit about this in last week's episode.
A little bit.
When we were talking about culture and religion and
Right.
veganism.
Now, this again comes from Ashley Hankins. She says, I was born in the Philippines and raised in a Filipino household. And even though I've been vegan for nearly a decade, my family still has a hard time grasping the concept that I don't eat meat. I'm sure many different cultures can relate to this. I deal with it by veganizing my family's traditional dishes and recipes and offering to cook for them. I love being able to call my mom or my Lola, my grandmother, and ask them for their adobo or pancit recipes, and then tweak them to fit my vegan diet. I think there's a huge misconception that you give up a bit of your culture if you go vegan, but I don't think that's true at all. On the contrary, I actually think going vegan has brought me closer to my Filipino heritage since I've learned to cook Filipino dishes that I probably would have never bothered learning to cook before.
Yeah, and we do that too with our cultural dishes.
Sure.
Just veganize them and then serve them to your family and let them see how amazingly delicious they are, and you didn't have to use any animal products.
Absolutely.
To make them that way.
And finally.
Yeah, from Nisha Vora from Rainbow Plant Life. Oh, here it is, number 10. The oh, so you eat rabbit food jokes. So you just eat rabbit food. Encountering people who have a very limited view of what vegan food is and can be, and then have strong opinions about it, is my biggest frustration. I've met people who think vegan food is just rabbit food and insist that humans cannot survive on a vegan diet, as well as people who think that plant-based substitutes are all artificially made poison. There's diversity in vegan food and a deep tradition within many cultures of creating naturally plant-based food that is nourishing, delicious, and satisfying. Depending on the openness of the person, I try to explain that and point to some of my favorite recipes. If they seem set in their viewpoints, I just move on with my day. Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah, you often hear that. We'll often see that argument that vegan, like meat replacers and things like that, are just poison, processed poison.
If you're concerned about that, you need to look at the labels of the processed food you're already eating.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And these people aren't even eating Kraft macaroni and cheese or,
Right.
You know what I mean? They're not, like, take a look at your own diet. Okay, processed food is processed food, but I can tell you that most processed vegan food has far fewer additives and chemicals.
In general, yes.
Yeah, than your average, like I said, Kraft macaroni and cheese or something like that, or a cup of noodles or one of those things, you know. Yeah. So it's not a valid argument, but it is really annoying.
And I always find the rabbit food thing funny. Okay, so number one, like, can we please get back to the fact that humans are not physiological omnivores?
Right.
We're frugivores.
Right.
We're not built to eat meat. Our teeth are not built to eat meat.
Right.
Our digestive systems are not built for eating meat.
Yeah.
So really, we should be eating a plant-based diet. And so the idea that plants are only fit for rabbits, can we please go back to the largest, strongest animals on the planet are all herbivores.
Yeah,
Rhinos, hippos,
elephants,
Yeah.
gorillas.
Yeah.
Some of the strongest animals in the world.
Yes.
Right?
So just the rabbit food thing I find really funny.
Yeah.
And yes, many vegans eat lots of raw vegetables
Right.
and lots of raw fruit.
Yeah.
But that's a plus. That's a good thing.
Yeah, and
that's
you know
not
what?
a negative.
Here's another thing. Rabbits don't seem to be having any trouble out there, right?
No, rabbits are good.
Rabbits are having a good time.
We've got bunnies all over the place.
Yeah, they're out there, they're eating their clover and whatnot, and they are making more rabbits on a daily basis.
Stuffing their cute little bunny faces with the clover in our yard.
They're not having any trouble. So, hey, if you want to call my food rabbit food, I would just say, take a look at the rabbits. They're doing great. So, that's funny. So, yeah, those are some things that are annoying to vegans, and I agree with almost all of them, right?
Yeah, really the one, I don't know, I guess I'm just not easily annoyed by such things.
Yeah.
But the cognitive dissonance one.
Yeah.
That I definitely agree with.
Yeah.
You know, like.
That one's hard.
I had one student in particular who would come into my office and, you know, would see me eating something and ask me what I was having for lunch. And I would say, and he'd be like, yeah, you know, I really like the idea of the whole vegan thing, but I just can't give up my chicken wings. I just love chicken wings. And I'm like,
you know what? So do the chickens.
yeah. And I've said that more than once, but you know.
Yeah. And how about the next time you get chicken wings, look at that plate of chicken wings and figure the math. How many chickens had to die for that plate of chicken wings?
Yeah.
You know? Anyway, I could go on.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
So that's a good segue into how we can encourage other people to go vegan and stay vegan.
That really was an outstanding segue.
I mean, maybe don't diss their chicken wings.
No, don't diss the chicken wings. Instead, have some empathy and understanding. Recognize that everyone has their own beliefs, values, and experiences. Listen to their concerns without judgment and address any misconceptions they may have about veganism. And of course, remember that there very likely was a time when you weren't vegan.
Yeah, so always put yourself in those shoes, right? Think back to before you were vegan. What would have changed your mind, you know?
Yep. Again,
And just empathy.
give a little grace where you can.
Absolutely. And now we're going to move on to our favorite portion of the show.
Hey, must be listener shout out time.
It's listener shout out.
Just want to give a shout out to all my fans watching. I love you guys. I love you.
This week's listener shout out goes to Kristen Dudish, owner of Tees from the Crisper vegan t-shirts. Kristen is a vegan, an artist, and recently opened a vegan t-shirt company. Follow her Instagram for a fun t-shirt voting contest that she holds every week to decide which designs to add to the shop. You can check out her shop at teesfromthecrisper.com.
And isn't that the cutest name for
It's
a t-shirt?
adorable. I love it.
It's so cute. Her designs are great, so check them out. But thanks for listening, Kristen. And you can contact us with your t-shirt size, and we'll send you a t-shirt.
Hey, that's awesome.
And some other things. We'll send you a CNC swag bag. So send us your address and your t-shirt size, like I said. And you can email that to us at compassionandcucumbers@gmail.com. Or you can DM us on Instagram or private message us on the Facebook.
And for the rest of you out there, if you want a listener shout out, please email or DM us. Let us know what you think of the show and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, and we'd like to remind you that you can also nominate others
Absolutely.
to be shouted out.
Bring on the nominations.
Yes. If you want us to say happy birthday or, you know, why didn't you take out the garbage last night? Anything. Whatever message you want us to convey, we will convey.
Alrighty then.
Yeah. It's time for our vegan org of the week.
And this week we are celebrating Catskill Animal Sanctuary. For over 20 years, the Catskill Animal Sanctuary has rescued thousands of animals in need at their 150-acre refuge on Old Stage Road in Saugerties. But its co-founders said increasingly wet weather brought about by climate change has made the property untenable.
You want to read a little bit about their history?
Sure thing. Since the snowy day in January 2001 that a tiny pony named Dino, the sole survivor of a horrific barn fire, hobbled off the trailer and onto our grounds, more than 5,000 animals have called Catskill Animal Sanctuary home. Whether they've come from animal hoarders or agribusiness, suffered horrendous cruelty or prolonged neglect, it has been our privilege to welcome each one and say with all that we have and all that we are, you are safe, you are loved, and you matter. Our history, in many ways, is comprised of 5,000 individual love stories. It is also the story of rescuing a derelict property in Saugerties, New York, and creating a sanctuary in its place. One road, one barn, and one pasture at a time, as funds come in from folks near and far who want to help. Over the years, we've demolished collapsed buildings, dredged ponds, installed roads, built a dozen barns and 24 smaller shelters, created roomy pastures, added solar power, purchased adjoining property, and so much more, so that today, Catskill Animal Sanctuary is comprised of 150 acres of pastured and wooded land, a haven for those lucky enough to find their way here. Of course, the work never ends. In the fall of 2022, after months of working with law enforcement and the SPCA, we rescued 42 sheep from profound and prolonged neglect at a farm where many more had already died. Our costs for medical care, hospitalization, ongoing hoof treatments, and more have been astronomical. This is one of the largest rescues in our 22 years as a sanctuary, and in a year where costs are at an all-time high, taking on so many additional animals is a challenge, but it's one we are privileged to take on. Our history is more than repairing broken bodies, broken spirits, and broken fencing. It also reflects our growing recognition that a massive societal shift to plant-based living is not only a moral imperative, it's essential to our very survival. Our signature humane education programs have been created to hasten this shift, and today, Catskill Animal Sanctuary is proud to be one of the world's leading teaching sanctuaries. To find out more or to support their mission, go to casanctuary.org.
Yeah, and I think they're going to need some help, since apparently the land, I'm not sure if it's all 150 acres of it, but the majority of the land where the barns and whatnot, they've been having terrible problems with flooding and water because of climate change. Yeah. So they are currently looking for a new location.
Yes, and we, of course, just want to thank Catskill Animal Sanctuary for the incredible work that they do.
We do. It's time to wrap this baby up. We just have a few calls to action for you. We always ask you to join the Agriculture Fairness Alliance Vegan Voter Hub, and you can do that by clicking the link that's in our show notes. We ask you to subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast app and on YouTube, and leave us a review and a rating if you can. And last but not least, we ask you to send us your favorite vegan recipes for our listener recipe series. And thank you to the people that have been sending in recipes. I have gotten a few recipes over the last couple of weeks, and we'll be diving into those soon.
And with that, it's time to sign off. You have just listened to episode 130 of the Compassion and Cucumbers podcast, and there's nothing left to say but where cukes and compassion are always the fashion on the podcast.
Thank you, James.
Have a great week, everyone.
We will talk to you next Tuesday.
We love you.
Bye-bye.
The end.
If you'd like to support the Compassion and Cucumbers podcast, well, you can do that by hopping on over to our Patreon page and becoming a patron. We have all the recipes from our Vegan Kitchen series up there, and we'll be adding some patron-only episodes in the near future. So thank you for supporting us at whatever level that you choose, and thank you again for listening to Compassion and Cucumbers podcast.